It is Thursday, May 23rd, 2024, and I am. So, the video that I posted did end up going up yesterday morning sometime, and I don't know when, but like early morning. And it's doing terribly, and I thought for a second as to why that might be, and I came up with reasons. Something caught my eye. Something with my. There's like a piece of glitter in my screen protector or something on my phone. I don't know. I'll have to investigate that. I don't know. So, yes. I'm going to read this off from the list that I sent my friend, who normally does YouTube stuff with me. Turns out making an age-restricted video about a game that looks weird and no one's heard of, and telling people not to watch it and to play the game first, and putting like 3 different warnings that the game is brutal, means that it does really bad. Add to that list that it is 2 hours long, it's essentially a puzzle game, YouTube compression hates it, and then it got uploaded some random time in the middle of the night. Yeah. And he responded that he was kind of busy, which, well, okay, so I asked him if he had time to watch it, if he could, just to, hopefully that would make it, something pick it up, because if few enough people watch it that, like, actually one person watching it makes a difference. But yeah, no, he's at camp right now, so yeah, no, he doesn't have time for that. So I should probably add to that school just got out for a lot of people, at least colleges did. So normally during the summer people might have more time to watch stuff, but at the beginning of the summer, like the first couple of weeks, people are probably on vacation. So so it's disappointing. In other news, I ended up skipping going to the young adults group tonight, so that I could go out to eat chilaquiles. I don't even know if that's how you say that. Because apparently the Google Doodle today was celebrating chilaquiles. And I don't know why. It's just they decided to do it today. So we were like, let's do that. So we went out and got some. So my brother's been working a lot. Like he had to work like full days on the weekend, and then he's still been working long hours the rest of the week, and apparently he still has to go in tomorrow. I don't know. It's a tough situation, I guess. And that's probably where I'll leave that. Oh yeah, I just beat Paper Mario: The Origami King today. I played it for a while, I guess kind of during COVID maybe. I don't know exactly. And then I didn't play it for a long time, and then I played it for a little bit again, and then I didn't play it for a while, and then I just came back and finished it. I don't know. It's okay. Maybe if I don't know. It's kind of my fault for sometimes playing games, while I'm doing other things like listening to YouTube videos and stuff, or whatever. Maybe I don't get as into them as I would otherwise, but I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I don't know, I just kind of got the impression that this game, I don't know, it seems a little like immature. Don't know if that's the right way to say that, but like there's quite a few like joke game overs in it. Like, if you decide to fall for the trap that you know that's there, you just get a game over. And it's like, but why though? Like, I don't know. I guess Paper Mario's had that for a while. I guess it's not a new thing to this game, but I don't know. Something about that still feels weird to me. Or like, um, your companion character reminding you that, oh no, you walked past the save block without saving. You should probably save. And they're right, but like it makes you feel like you're not in control of the character. If your companion won't let you pass through a door without saving first. I don't know. And I don't know. I guess I wasn't that big of a fan of the main battle mechanic too. I don't know. Even though I don't know why I wasn't. It seems like the sort of thing I'd normally be into. And to some extent, it's like basically there's no reason to go through the effort of, like if it's a really easy, the whole thing is that you have to line up. You can move your enemies around, and you're supposed to line them up, but the way you do it is by like sliding them either around in a circle or back and forth in line, basically. Uh, and I never really felt a need to get good at it because the penalties for failure was, I don't know, you just get like a few hundred less coins, basically. You might take a little more damage, but I don't know if I ever used a healing item in the entire game. I did. I did. But I ended up with like so many of them that, I don't know, the battles weren't really interesting if your main mechanic just makes it, if you fail your main mechanic, it just takes one round longer. And maybe, you get 20 more damage that you can heal right afterwards. And a few hundred less coins when I think I had like 90,000 at the end of the game. The game was not balanced for... I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I mean, I guess you want 3-year-olds to be able to play your game nowadays. Or, I mean, not 3-year-olds, but like, I mean, forget hyperbole. Like, you want 6-year-olds to be able to beat your game. At least your bright, shiny Paper Mario game. So you don't want to punish them too hard if they fail the main mechanic. And you don't, I mean... And if they're like using all their coins like all the time and you buying healing items or whatever, I don't know. It just seemed kind of immature. I don't really like the sound effects in the new Paper Mario games either. It makes it seem so much more like a cartoon than like an adventure. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing. It felt more like a cartoon than an adventure. Or like, I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff that happened, right? I'm not gonna disagree with that. The stuff that happened was really cool. It was really fun, I guess. I don't know, like, it was interesting, and it was fun, and I enjoyed basically 100%ing every area the first time I went through. At least for the entire second half of the game, so that I never had to go back to any of the other areas again. I don't know. I didn't get all the trophies, so I haven't actually 100% of the game. The next thing I have to do is I have to unlock like 100 things by clicking like 4 button presses and waiting like half a second between each one. So I don't know how much time that adds up to. And by 100 things, like actually, I have the game up on this monitor in front of me actually. More than 100 more things. Let me get my calculator up here because live arithmetic is not great. Okay, so 2 more things to unlock here. Plus 26, plus 21, plus 20, plus 12, plus 24. Okay, so not that much more than 100. 105 more things. But there's like, it takes like 10 seconds to do each one. So it's like 20 minutes of like doing nothing but unlocking stuff. And maybe I should have been doing this the entire game, but like, why can't you just have an unlock all button? And then go through and look at it without having to do like 5 button presses each time. Like nobody waited until the end of the game to unlock these things. I don't know. It's just, there's weird things. And maybe other people play games just to see bright colors and have fun, and I don't know, your companion character just like being a kid. Like, I mean, she had an arc of like, feeling so weak and then feeling strong, and I can do it, and then like at the very end of the game, like you like sit down on a bench and the conversation you have is, I don't know if I can do it, I'm so scared. And then it's like, but I thought we spent the entire game being like, we need to go save everybody. Like, I don't know. The other person comes and cheers them up, but like, and then they're like, "Oh, we're ready to go," and it's like, well, that's been your like character development the entire time, right? You just like undid all of your character development and then redid all of your character development all at the same time, and like, so why am I supposed to care? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too cynical. Maybe if I had played this game from start to finish in like less than 2 years, maybe I'd have a different opinion. Because maybe I don't remember the beginning of the game that well. But yeah, I mean, even failing in battle doesn't really do you much harm. I didn't even use like any of my good items because my old items didn't wear out in time for me to use the new items. So I basically, I don't know how much easier would the final. I think I beat the final boss before. Well, I don't know. And there's like 3 final bosses, like all with different mechanics. Like, that's cool, but like you can't really fail after like the first hard one. And like, I guess it's just for theatrics. But the rest of them don't feel like a challenge. They just feel like, I don't know. It's kind of that way in a lot of games for me, really. Like, why do you have, I don't know. I guess the idea is that, so the games I'm thinking about specifically are like Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Um, and to some extent, Super Mario Sunshine. Um, then like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Zelda Breath of the Wild. They all have like these last final phases or bosses, and Paper Mario the Origami King also, where it's really kind of a letdown because it's basically just something standing in the way of the credits. You just gotta hit the A button 3 more times, and then with little skill involved, maybe none at all, and then you win automatically. I mean, and I guess the idea is that you don't want to have like the really super hard boss fight at the end of everything, because then if you fail there, you have to go through everything else again. There's got to be a better way. What games don't have that problem? I don't remember it so much with. I don't remember it so much with like Skyward Sword, or like Super Mario 64. Because in Super Mario 64, I don't know. I haven't actually played that, so maybe it is kind of a letdown when you get to there. But like, it's not a super long sequence, but it is challenging. And then when you beat it, the credits roll like right after that. So it is, you do like finish at the climax of the story arc basically. And maybe that's what the deal is. And because in Skyward Sword, the entire game you're trying to keep from somebody being resurrected, and then you're fighting their henchmen the entire time, and the final boss sequence has you fighting against one of his henchmen as the strongest, at the strength of his power, at the height of his power. So it's like legitimately difficult, more difficult than like the rest of the game. And then the last final boss is, well, he actually does get resurrected. Spoilers, by the way. And then you fight him himself. So that the climax of the story is also the last final boss. And it might not, and even in Skyward Sword, it's difficult. Is it as difficult as the rest of the final boss sequence? Probably not. But it's still interesting because that's what the build-up is to. And then in a lot of these other games, all these multi-phase ones, the build-up is to something else. And then the extra final boss phase just comes out of nowhere just to be like, oh, he's not dead yet. You thought you were done, but no, you have to hit A 3 more times. And it's like, but why though? Why do games keep on doing this? Maybe, is there something I'm not seeing? It probably is. Put your thoughts in the comments, I guess. Am I totally off base? Because like in this game, you go to take him on, the big bad guy, and he's, channeling the power of everybody, and then it's really hard, and you beat him, though it's kind of not actually really hard. Apparently he regenerates health, but he only regenerated health once on me, and I'm really bad. I'm kind of not great at those puzzles because I never had an incentive to really figure them out. But even so, that's like, I think the puzzles were easier than like your normal baddies. Just, your normal random encounter in the hallway. So, I mean, there's higher stakes because the number that happens when he damages you is a little higher. And so, yeah, I don't know. So you do the really hard thing, and then it's like, but wait, I'm not actually done because I am a piece of paper and I unfolded myself and I keep unfolding myself and then I get bigger. And it's like, but wait, that's not how paper works. Like, if you unfold yourself to like the shape that you were, you're done unfolding. There are no more layers to unfold. I know this because I do origami sometimes. You can't keep unfolding a paper. So how do you get bigger? How does this work? Is it magic? I guess it is, but most paper things kind of seem to make sense. Transforming into other things makes you bigger, but that makes sense because those other things might have more paper. You unfolding yourself and becoming bigger does not actually make sense, and in fact they actually cut away from showing the beginning of that because I don't know what it was so weird. They like cut away from it when at the same time when you're like, your companion character goes, he's unfolding, he's getting bigger, and it's like, but you're focusing on our reaction to that because why? I would have loved to see why unfolding yourself makes you bigger. Unfolding past the canonical size of the piece of paper that we know you are. You cannot, I don't know, you cannot unfold if you do not have a layer. And then, oh no, he's big, but we can make another guy. We can fold somebody else. It's not Mario. It's not your protagonist. Your protagonist can't fight, the big guy after he unfolds himself. That wouldn't. Why would you think that your character would fight in the second final boss? Instead, you slam on the ground so that he can sumo wrestle better. Right? Isn't that what happened in that game? And then you have to make sure that you slam behind your guy. But why? Why? It is. I guess there's a revenge arc there, because the guy that you're with has a grudge against the bad guy? I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I don't know why I need to, but I am trying to. And then, oh no, you didn't defeat him when you pushed him off the edge and said, "Eat gravity." I don't even know what that line was. It was like, "Eat gravity, you jerk." Which, I mean, I do have to say, the writing is pretty good. Except for your companion character, the writing is pretty good. I did enjoy the writing. And the visual style, also great. The story, which is different than the writing, I don't know about. And then, oh no, you pushed him off the edge into the thing that was, going to kill you and going to kill anybody who was with you who got pushed off the edge. But oh no, he didn't die. He made a dimension of pure origami. What? Why didn't he do that when, he was, super strong? Or why didn't you do what you did to fight him? Right? If the idea is he is getting stronger, and so you are doing things to defeat him, why didn't you do those things originally? And why didn't he do those things originally? That's my problem with a lot of these multi-phase boss fights. In Tears of the Kingdom, story-wise, it made sense. Because the boss of that game gave up something to become one of those last boss fights. So it made sense narratively. But, a lot of these things, if you could be more powerful, why would you just not do that at the beginning? And a lot of it is like, oh, he's prideful, oh, all that stuff. But like, I don't know that that necessarily applies in this case. He would not pull his punches to just prove a point. And it didn't seem like he was making a sacrifice by getting more powerful. So why not just be more powerful? And then, so yeah, he gets even bigger and makes his own special dimension of pure origami. And I don't even remember I think, what do you even do in that phase? I already forgot. Do you do more slam hands on the ground? I'm not even kidding. I literally don't even remember what I did and like what I did 5 seconds before the credits. And then, oh no, the whole story was just based on a misunderstanding. This is gonna be spoilers. Uh, he scribbled on me. I can't believe that he would do that. You know, he I have a scar now from where he scribbled on me, and that's great. That's terrible. You know, that's a great sin for origami is to draw on it. It's like, how do you think you have eyes? Like, can you speak through? I don't even know how they speak, so forget about that. But like, you wouldn't be able to see if he didn't draw eyes on you. I assume, and maybe I don't know. And oh no, he did. He never read the gibberish or the scribbles that he wears on in his body all along. That's why he's doing. Why he is trying to take over literally the entire world, is because he got scribbled on, and you know he never even read it. And we know this because at the end of the game, he's like, your companion who's been with you this entire game. Look at my scars as I die. And it's like, oh, it's not scars, it's writing. Oh, read what's on me as I perish. And that's like, I hope you become a great king. So he yeah, the person who folded this origami dude wrote on him, I hope you become a good king. And because he assumed it was just scribbles, he wanted to take over the entire world and basically kill everybody and turn them into mindless drones. Why? So, but how does that make sense? How did he not know that it was writing? Like he never looked at it. He just like felt getting scribbled on, uh, and like didn't notice that it was like letters. It didn't feel like letters to him, and then he never looked at it, and so he never saw that it was writing, and then he never read it. See, that's why if people if you hear people say that the old Paper Marios are better, maybe they are. I would agree with them that they are. But if you need an example of why, that's what the main plot point of this game was. This guy wants to take over the world because his creator wrote on him that he wanted him to be a good king. And he never thought it was anything more than scribbles. So he wanted to take over the world because he thought he got scribbled on, but it was really a message to be a good king. That's like, if I were to make up a story to tell my kids as a bedtime story, I would come up with a better story than that. I'm pretty sure. I I think I would. At least I would be like, no, I'm not gonna say that part because that is dumb, and doesn't that's that doesn't make a point. I guess the point is, I don't know, what is the point? What is the point of that? Don't assume that you've been scarred when really it was meant in love? Like a go to therapy type of advice? Is that what that was? Like, and nobody else noticed that either? Like he never, I mean, like if he thought it was like a scar, like he said, then I guess that makes sense that he would never let anybody see it. But like his goal was to make a new kingdom of origami with your companion, the person who stays with you the entire game. So he never even showed her his like perfect ruler companion familial person. He never even showed her so that she could be like, why are you doing this? Because it just says it wants you to be a good king. Also, why did he want him to be a good king? Why did the person who folded him make him a king? I don't even know if that's part of the story or not. Is that explained? What was he going to be king of? Probably not the world. That's because that's what he tried to do and he ended, that was bad. He was the bad guy. So what was he going to be king of? Like, was the person who folded him going to fold like an entire kingdom? I don't even remember. I feel like that might be part of the story that I forgot. So, I mean, I don't know. And there's random office supplies that show up as bosses for each of the sections, and it's like, where did those come from in a paper world? I don't really need that to be explained, but like, I don't know. It's like, oh no, all the bosses are things that are really normal to us, but they're super dangerous to paper. And it's like, but why? You could have made anything you wanted. And your thing of creativity was to make office supplies. You could have made a dragon. Or, you know, something related to the area that you're in. I don't know. That's kind of fun. But to make something that doesn't exist in that universe but exists in ours, you know, that just is like hates you because he hates you. That's not really interesting. I am beating up on this game so much. It was fun. It looks good. Uh, I did a lot of playing with it and listening to YouTube videos, so maybe I didn't get the full appreciation for the music, but I'll probably be listening to the soundtrack a little bit here soon. So maybe I can give an update on that, or maybe it doesn't actually matter. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't learn anything from the story, I guess. And it's yeah, I don't know. So I guess comparing this to the video series I'm trying to put up, which is a game that also looks and sounds interesting, but it is super creative. The story is really what sets it apart. Everything else is cool. And the thing is, it's not fun. I mean, it's fun, it's interesting, it's thought provoking. But, like, it's not fun like a cartoon is fun. The Return of the Obra Dinn is what I'm talking about now. But I would take a thought provoking and interesting story, like, literally thought provoking, like, you have to think about all of that stuff. You have to figure it out in your brain. And that, I would take that literally any day over a game that would rather be fun than thought provoking. And that's the thing. I don't know. I probably played those games around the same time. And it probably says something that I just played through the one and recorded it again. And I just finished this one for the first time. Because that Return of the Obra Dinn stayed, like, in my mind for a while. Like, I remember playing that. And I don't really remember much from the first half of this game. I don't remember much of what happened when I played last time. And that was like a couple of weeks ago. So maybe it's because my brain and I like figuring things out. And you know, you could say, oh, but why didn't you like the battle system? Because you have to figure stuff out there. You're supposed to try to line them up. And it's like, but it's on a time limit. So you're like rushed into trying to figure things out. So you never really get a huge period of time to just sit down and think about what the best strategies are. And second of all, with that, it doesn't matter. Because all it does is make your battle take an extra round or whatever. So, I don't know. Was it worthwhile to talk about this for 40 minutes? Or almost 40 minutes? No. Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It says something about me that I like games that make me think, and I like final bosses that don't just revive themselves for no reason so that you hit A 3 more times. I don't know. I think games having an epilogue is fine. Or like a short scene at the end or whatever. But the climax of the story and the gameplay both need to happen at the same time. And if you have a thing where all you need to do is press A 3 more times to defeat the final boss, there's a disconnect there that really I don't like. That being said, like the Super Mario Galaxy games, Super Mario Sunshine, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, I love all those games. And I guess in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild for sure, The whole point of basically playing the rest of the game is to make the final boss easier. That's kind of your reward for beating the rest of the game, but I don't know, I'm not necessarily a fan of that either. How would I fix it? I don't know. I don't know that there's like actually a good way to. I don't know what I would have done if I was making that decision. So I guess I can't be too hard. The other games though, which is all 3D Mario games, which you could also count Paper Mario, maybe this game. I don't know. I feel like I would have I don't know, just make well, like, you don't have to fight the guy like he looks in all the rest of the cutscenes, you know? You don't have to fight that guy. He can transform before you fight him the last time, you know? Or before you fight him the last time. I don't know. Because if he could do that all along, and he doesn't suffer any ill effects, why didn't he do that? And maybe I'm looking for consistency in places where you shouldn't be looking for consistency. I don't know. I guess the other what this really does say about me is that probably consistency is one of the first things I look for in a story. And that is one of the things that I loved about Return of the Obra Dinn that isn't present in a lot of villain motivation things, is that Return of the Obra Dinn was built around the fact that things had to be consistent. Like, everything had to make sense for you to be able to figure out that game. And you had to use every tool at your disposal, and you had to make assumptions that the game was going to make sense. And maybe people want games to be unpredictable, like especially at the end of them or whatever. Like, what? It's mysterious. What was the villain's true motivations all along? The mystery of a villain's motivations shouldn't be your primary goal in a story or when you're reading a story. It's a much more interesting villain if you know everything about them at the beginning of the book and you still need to fight them. You can make a sympathetic villain that you still have to defeat. And this game did not have one of those. But it was a fun game. I did have fun when I was playing it. There was a lot of, like each section of the game was interesting. It looked very pretty. The writing was great. The gameplay was pretty good. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't a super big fan of the battle stuff, but the boss fights were the boss fights were good, except for like the story stuff around the final boss, like I've been talking about. In a month, am I gonna remember that, or am I gonna remember the fact that the final boss was so dumb he didn't realize that he had letters written on him and he didn't even read them, and that's why this entire game happened. And then your companion gets to make a wish at the end of the game, and so she wishes that everything done by the bad guy was undone, and apparently that included her because she was made by the bad guy. So she basically commits an unexistence because she didn't think to word into her wish that only his bad things were undone. Like, why didn't you wish that? Or why didn't you say, I wish everything done by him is undone, but that he and I would still exist and be friends? Like, what is the rule about the wishes? We don't know, because that was a mechanic that was introduced right before the final boss fight, so nobody ever got to explain it to us. Also, interestingly enough, this game was made by Intelligent Systems, which is kind of funny. But anyway, the game they made after that. Actually, I don't remember the exact order. They made Fire Emblem Engage, which has a similar thing of having really good gameplay and a lot of interesting mechanics and things to do, but another really bad story that is full of motivations that don't make any sense and weird things that happen. The writing is also weird in that game. Like, so that's another mark. Oh, I'm having flashbacks to the cutscene where there's a pinky promise made with somebody that's fading away once again into non-existence, and the pinky promise me, and the last thing that fades away of that person's existence is their pinky, while the other person is like bawling and like so sad that I why does Intelligent Systems not know how to write a game? And the thing is, they do. They made Fire Emblem Three Houses, which has so much like lore behind the scenes and stuff that you have to figure out, and also really interesting mechanics and stuff. But like, maybe the gameplay is a little janky sometimes, but the story is so good in that game. And like, for these next two games that they made after that, and like I said, I don't know exactly where they land. So for Three Houses, or for Fire Emblem Three Houses, which Intelligent Systems also made, they had to make an entirely separate game, Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, to fill in like an alternate universe type of, plot threads type of thing, where it's an alternate universe where things are a little different, but you get some more information on people and their backstories, which happened before the timelines diverge, so you still get some canonical information about people from the other game, and it's all really interesting. They needed to make DLC for that game, because there were still things that needed tuning, and there's just some janky things about that game too. But I don't care that the gameplay is janky, because I know these characters and I care about them, and they're not dumb. Like, I didn't care about my companion in this game because she's dumb. I didn't care about the villain in this game after we beat him, because turns out he's also dumb. So I don't know how Intelligent Systems can make Three Houses and Three Hopes, which are two of my favorite games. So each of those games has 3 or 4 separate plot lines. Like, you have to play through the game like 3 or 4 times to see all of the story, and I haven't even done that yet. But I don't even need to do that to say that they're my favorite games. I've had too many other new games that have come up, but I did play through. Okay, I played through Three Houses. Three Houses is longer, I think. I don't know. Three Houses. I played through. Did I only play through it once or twice? I think I played. I don't even remember anymore. I think I played through it once. And I was about halfway through my second one when I moved on to something else. Three Hopes I played through twice, and I was like halfway through the third. So, and then these games, I'm not gonna, you know, Engage. I never even Fire Emblem Engage. I never even beat that game because I don't know. I don't really care about those guys. Like, I don't know. Right? I don't have any desire to see how dumb the final boss is in that game. But the gameplay is really good. And if that's all you care about, I mean, go for it, I guess. I don't know. I'll take janky gameplay over a weird story all day. So, okay. What we've found out is that there are two things that I prioritize that I prioritize story over. I care about story more than I care about having fun, which is Origami King versus Return of the Obra Dinn. And I care more about story polish than gameplay polish, which is Fire Emblem Engage versus Hopes and Three Hopes and Three Houses. So, I don't know. This probably means something, but I don't know. This went on for way longer than I thought, but man, oh man, that one scene in Fire Emblem Engage. I promise. I don't even remember what they say, but it's so dumb. At that point, I literally like turned off the game and I went to message my friend, and I was like, "This is so dumb. This person was just fading out of existence. They were making a pinky promise with the main character, which is already dumb. But then the last thing that that faded out of existence was the pinky, which is really dumb. Why?" And then the whole thing is about people dying and being resurrected, and then people like, well, how are you supposed to care about somebody if they die and are resurrected like 3 times? Like, how are you supposed to care? That's weird. Like I don't know. Like, if you're gonna have dying and resurrection be like a main thing, you can't do it twice. And I don't know, that just seems real cheap to me anyway. Like, and okay, so here's why it feels cheap. Let's go into that a little bit, because who needs to go to bed when it's late at night? We went through all the emotional things of being like, oh no, that person died at the beginning of the game, and now my motivation is to avenge them. Because, yeah. And then, so you as a player, or you as the character in the game, your motivation is to avenge because the person died. And then they get brought back to life. But I don't even remember the details of what happened. It's been so long since I played Engage to actually remember any of this. But it's like, so you're really undoing a lot Like, remember all the development that the character had with being like, oh no, they died and we'll never see them again. This is so awful and sad, and this is some stuff that I have to work through now. And then for them to just be alive again, it's like, so what was the point of all that? So there's no consequences in this world? I don't know. I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm not doing a good job of remembering Fire Emblem Engage's story all that well. But it's like, if you have to deal with the whole, like, oh no. Well, yeah. It's more of the thing where it's like, oh no, this was, they're dead now. I can't talk to them. I have to live on my own. I have to figure out how to stand up on my own 2 feet. And then they get resurrected and they're like evil because they were resurrected by the bad guy. So, I mean, you do have to come to terms with like, oh no, this is the person that I wanted to, avenge, but they're bad. So by avenging them, I also have to kill them. And it's like, okay, so there's interesting stuff there. If you have your character deal with that, then that can be interesting. But then when they're evil and then you kill them and they're like, but no, we're good for a few seconds so we can talk one last time. And it's like, but wait, what about the whole thing about, being on your own and like being, figuring out how to move on with your life? You're like, you just delete that because, we had one last talk with them where we pinky promised. And the last thing that faded from existence was their pinky. Can you tell that that scene is very memorable for me? Is that what? So, like, that's the thing. I can't remember the story. I can't remember, like, most of the story. Like, past the beginning of the game. I was invested in the beginning, I guess. It was cool in the beginning. And I don't know. But, no, the thing I remember. I don't know. Welcome to, complains about games for an hour. And the thing is, they're not bad games. Like, they have some things that are top notch in them. They really do. Like this game, the Origami King was really fun and really colorful. And it looks really nice. And Fire Emblem Engage has really, top-notch gameplay. Like, when you're actually playing the game and not in a cutscene, like, it is one of the most polished games. Most polished games. I don't know. Should I talk for another 40 seconds? No. I probably shouldn't. But, anyway, I don't know. Thanks for listening to me rant. If you have thoughts, please put them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Thank you very much for spending this hour with me. I will see you guys tomorrow.